All right. We are live, a couple minutes behind here. Let's see, we're going live on Butt. Looks like that's working. No, it's yelling connection loss, Steve. It's bouncing back and forth, connection loss. Well, I'm going to start the app, people. I believe I am live on the app now. I'm going to have to do something drastic here to shoutcast. This new server is not making Butt happy. All right, we are live in the chat room. All right, Steve, I'm not sure, but something is drastically wrong with Butt. Not sure what's going wrong there. We've had a lot of technical difficulties today. Let me see what the settings are again. AGR channel 3, right?
No, 1. Channel 1.
Okay. And so audio.
Channel 1.
Yeah, I can hear you, Steve. I haven't muted you yet. All right, we'll go back and try channel 1, and we will hit play and see whether that works. All right. I believe we might be live on channel 1 now on Butt. All right. Things are not going smoothly today, everyone, but we are here. Donald Burr, I believe, is in the house for real because I see ChattyBot was in here. ChattyBot is, I believe, a tool he is using to test the beta for the new app that he's working on. So that is pretty super cool. Anybody who has not signed up for the beta test that is here for the live show, you ought to send a note to Donald. Hopefully Donald will put his email address in the show notes here. I always forget which one he wants because he has about 17 of them. Let's see. It's probably time for roll call. Long since time for roll call. We've got Donald and Steve and Brett and Kevin and ChattyBot and Dan and Greg Locke. Craig, how are you today? And Jeff Bishop is in the chat room for real this time instead of lurking over in Twitter. And Kirshen and John and Sandy and Tyson. It is a pack. Hey, Tyson, I haven't forgotten that I told you I was going to go over and do my Fitness Pal. I know I promised I would do that, and I haven't done it yet, and I keep getting paralyzed because I go over there and it wants me to know how much weight I want to lose. And so I think it might not be the app we're looking for. But anyway, we'll figure that out. All right. Oh yeah, it should be accessible. Are you at the website, Jeff? Let's see, file, save as. All right, and this goes audio 2015. All right, we are NC 2015 0503. Let's try that. Let's see. Oh, Kevin, I hope you feel okay. Oh, using the app for listening on iPhone IRC client. Ooh, cool. The app is actually has a chat client in it, Jeff, and that chat client is accessible. I know Donald Burr would do nothing less. Let me do a. I didn't want you to think I'd forgotten though, Tyson. I've got it in my notes going, oh, I haven't done that yet. Somebody told me about a web service. I got to find it again. That allows everybody can use their own fitness tracker, but you get to match all your stats together in one place. It's web-based, but still, that might be the cool thing to do. So we'll check that out. So many thanks to Kirshen for the fact that I was on the Clockwise podcast this week. Yay, Kirshen! It was so fun. Okay, let me do a quick recording in GarageBand, see how we're looking here. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com. Oh, I thought that wasn't going to come. My beer just arrived. Not a moment too soon. Technical difficulties delayed my beer, so. Cheers, everyone. Horse is here. Two Jeffs for the price of one. Maybe that's Jeff in the app and Jeff in the IRC chat client. Oh, and Jamal's back. All right, it's getting exciting. Tell me if you guys can hear this. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com. All right, it looks like it's working. Jeff, yell and save. Yay, I can tell you're in the chat in the app. Star Wars Day tomorrow. Great, thank you. What's Star Wars Day tomorrow? What's happening with Star Wars tomorrow? I didn't know anything. What do I do? All right, Steve, I think it's probably time I muted you. All right, he's not listening to me. I'm going to mute him. Hide from broadcast. Goodbye, Steve. All right, here we go. We have this show on the way here. All right, Sandy. Yeah, refill your wine glass. You need to make sure you have enough wine to make it through the show. You don't have to take a break and miss anything. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, May 3rd, 2015, and this is show number 521. Well, it's been a really busy week for me this week in podcast land. I had the great pleasure of joining Adam Christensen on the MacCast. He invited several of us to come on individually to talk to him about the Apple Watch, and then compiled it into one long show, including a segment on his own impressions. His guests included Ken Ray, David Sparks, Veronica Belmart, and Irfan Elijah, and I was really excited to be included in that group. I think it's a good show. I think it actually works better to do that kind of show where everybody's individual, so you get each person's thoughts and not climbing over each other. So it was a really, really fun show. I also got to be on the Clockwise podcast hosted by Jason Snell and Dan Morin. If you haven't heard of this show before, I highly recommend it. It's 2 hosts, 2 guests, 4 topics, 30 minutes. Boom. It's probably the crispest, most well-orchestrated show I've ever listened to. I was a fan of the show already, and then Kirshen Sia recommended me to Jason, and he took her up on the idea. What was he thinking? Anyway, the other guest was Shali McFarland, another former Macworld person, and she was a lot of fun. Clockwise is hosted over on relay.fm, and of course, there's a link in the show notes to episode number 85. Definitely check out both of these shows. They're awesome, and I'm not saying that just because I was on. Well, last week I talked a bit about how in my straight line run on the beach, the Apple Watch said I ran farther out than I ran back, which didn't make any sense. Donald Burr wrote a comment on the blog post about this, and I wanted to read it to you because it does help explain the inaccuracy. This might be the ticket. Okay, it's a little geeky here, but that's fun. He wrote, as a developer, I have a bit of inside knowledge to support the fact that this would happen. When calling on core location, the framework that handles location updates, you can tell it the type of location accuracy you want. You can specify this value as an absolute value in meters, but Apple defines several default values they recommend you use. The most accurate is called KCL Location Accuracy Best for Navigation, all one word, which, as its name implies, is best used when doing GPS navigation. Of course, when you're driving, you'd want the most accurate position information possible. A couple of feet could mean that you missed the turn that you needed to make. They strongly recommend that this mode be used only when the phone is likely to be plugged into a power source, for example, in your car. The next lowest level is KCL Location Accuracy Best, which basically means that the OS will do its best to balance accuracy versus power consumption. This mode will still consume a fair amount of power, but not as much as best for navigation. I thought that was really, really interesting, and I appreciate Donald writing that into us because, I love that the NosillaCast ways are this geeky that we could actually find out why my watch said I ran farther out than I did back. We have a dumb question corner. Yay, it has been a long time. I don't even remember where dumb question corner music even is. There it is. Save. All right, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to drop in. This is really fun. I like this recording here. That's not what I meant to do. Todd, and we'll go down here. So Todd is going to be here, say about there. Let's see how that lines up. I want you a little bit closer. I probably want that closer. Let's see how that sounds right there. All right, here we go. Appreciate Donald writing that into us because, I love that the NosillaCast ways are this geeky that we could actually find out why my watch said I ran farther out than I did back.
Dumb.
And I can hear Steve now saying that that's too quiet. Drop it down onto the regular track. Key that we could actually find out why my watch said I ran farther out than I did back.
Dumb.
Okay, that's even quieter. What's going on? All right, I'm going to drop in the intro music right now because if I don't, when I slide this stuff, I got to do some messing around with the audio levels because it's coming in really, really quiet, and I'm not quite sure why, but I can fix it. But if I fix it incorrectly, if I fix it in one location, it's going to mess everything else up. So let me do this. And how's that look? Let's try the beginning here. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, May 3rd, 2015, and this is show number 521. Well, it's been a really busy week for me this week in podcast land. I didn't like where that ended. I think we need to move you out a little bit. And 21. Well, it's been a real... All right, so now I can edit the audio out here where we're going to hear Dumb Question Corner. So I can bring this up to 0, and then I'll bring you down after you're done. Where's this level? This level's at 14.5 down, so bring that back down, 14.5. I don't know why it's messed up, but it is negative 14.5. Where is it? Yeah, close enough. All right, let's hear this now. That the NosillaCast ways are this geeky that we could actually find out why my watch said I ran farther out than I did back.
Dumb question.
Okay, I'm almost not stupid. I just changed the wrong track. Okay, I'll just move it. You could actually find out why my watch said I ran farther out than I did back.
Dumb.
Okay, that's better, but I can hear I messed with my microphone. I can hear it right there. Now I can see it back. No. Hang on, sorry. Than I did back. Okay, here we go. Than I did back. Sorry, being really anal right now. What is the issue? I'm just having trouble with the audio. The castaways are this geeky that we could actually find out why my watch said I ran farther out than I did back.
Dumb question. How do I? What is?
How come I always have to?
It's time for Dumb Question Corner.
Hello, Allison, and all you excellent NosillaCast castaways. Todd McCann here from the Trucker Nut Podcast. Long time no speak. Hey, got a question for you. Okay, had a great big lightning strike at my house and knocked out my modem. Oh, wait. First, problem to be solved. Can't forget that. The problem here is, Allison and Steve, you guys live in Southern California, and there's these things called lightning bolts. See, usually clouds form a lot, and then some rain comes down sometimes, and then we get this great big huge bolt of light. It's electricity, and, it can zap stuff. Okay, now that we got that problem taken care of, let's go on. As I was saying, this bolt of lightning came down, and it was so freaking loud. Knocked out all of the modems within about a quarter-mile radius of my house. So they finally came out and put a new one in. The thing is, the new one actually has wireless. Yes, I know it's hard to believe that our old one didn't, but, hey, that's what you get when you pay $100 a month for 3 megabits down. Yes, I don't want to hear any of you ever complain about your internet service again. So anyway, like I said, the old one didn't have wireless on it, so we always used our Airport Extreme. We always put it in bridge mode. Now here's a question: the new one has it, but it does we do drop signal every now and then, and we're thinking about getting another Airport Extreme. And especially since you and Bart have been talking a lot about all these different hacks and exploits going on all of these cheap modems and routers and stuff. So the question is, if I put my Airport Extreme in bridge mode behind the modem, do I still get the benefits of, owning an Apple router and that those exploits won't make it through? Or is it because it's in bridge mode, will it just pass all that crap right through? Looking forward to hearing your answer on this. Not looking forward to paying for a new Apple Extreme. But hey, got to do what you got to do. Keep up all the great work here, Allison, and of course I'm going to stay subscribed. So until next time, drive safe and...
I hit next. Here. We got to hear the end of what he says.
Until next time, drive safe and stay out of my way.
All right, I'm going to do that right here.
Till next time, drive safe and stay out of my way.
Well, I take offense at Todd thinking we don't know about lightning because I do have a distant childhood memory of when it used to rain in California. I got to tell you, it's like living in a Mad Max movie around here now, though. Anyway, Todd and I went back and forth on this question of his about the Airport Extreme in bridge mode, but I'll boil it down to you for those of you listening. Back in August of 2013, on episode number 431, Bart and I walked through how to configure an Airport Extreme behind a Verizon wireless router, and we put together a tutorial on it. Of course we did. What else would we do? I pointed to Todd over to that tutorial and explained that if he followed these instructions, he'd be able to not use bridge mode and let the Airport Extreme wrest control from the cable company's router. It's kind of complicated and it has some sleight of hand that Bart figured out, but it's stable for me and it would give Todd what he wanted. But there's a problem, which he elaborated in a later email. Here's what he wrote. You see, our country bumpkin internet goes out a lot. In the past, when the guy came over to fix it, he always looked dumbfounded when he found out that we were bypassing the router and letting the Apple Extreme do all the work. Therefore, he would just unplug it and set it up the way he knows how to do it. Makes you wonder what I'm paying $100 a month for, right? Anyway, back then it was no big deal because the evil overlord, the tech-hating wife, and I were always home at the same time, so I was always there to set up the airport again. But now I'm on the road and she's at home. That's why we started using bridge mode. That way, when the doofus fixes the internet, she can just go and plug the Airport Extreme back in and everything just works. So the question still stands. Since I have to use the Airport Extreme in bridge mode to keep my marriage intact, are we still subject to all those router exploits? I realize this wouldn't be an issue if I could convince her to follow your tutorial every time, but I'm pretty sure if I even suggested it, she'd stab me in the neck with a dull fork. All right. After reading that, I understand how he does have to live with bridge mode or move to a place with decent internet or make the evil overlord into a NosillaCast castaway. If he does leave it in bridge mode, the sad answer is that the Airport Extreme would not provide him any security in this mode. The router from his provider is the one talking to the outside world, while the Airport Extreme is just passing along whatever comes in. I'm not sure what having an Airport Extreme is buying him in this mode, except perhaps the new fancy pants beamforming antennas with 802.11 A, B, C, G, N. I don't know, that might give him a better wireless signal in the house. I still think the solution is to invite the evil overlord into the community. Well, music makes a video much more compelling, but you do have to be really careful now if you're going to put your videos online to not use copyrighted music without permission. Maybe your work isn't likely to be noticed by the creators of the music, but YouTube and other sites will often take your video down if you don't have the rights. And it's not just music. If you use photos on your blog or marketing materials that you don't own, that can really end you in hot water. Let's listen to this interview from NAB from a company called Pond 5 who might have a solution that would help you out. New York, Linda. Hi, Linda. How are you? Got Linda and Rose. Got two RBGs in here. All right. Now let's see if we go find the audio file from Steve's Mac. What have I missed? That was the start of a Mexican wave. Steve wants to know what an RBG is. Reasonably Bright Girls Club. We have a little club. We call her the Reasonably Bright Girls. And Linda and Rose are founding members. Let's see. NAB NMX for Allison. Audio. And we are looking for Pond 5. So let me... I think I'll go put that on Todd's track and see what happens if I do that. Pile those on. Mark? Who's this new guy? Switcher Mark? Huh. Okay, I'm just going to play the beginning of this. Pond 5, who might have a solution that would help you out. If you're creating any kind of digital content, it's really frequent that you wish you could get a photo, a song, something you're allowed to play on, say, on YouTube, for example. If you do a video and you want royalty-free music, you need a way to get that. So I'm with John O'Connor. I guess I kind of repeated that, didn't I? I should have listened to the interview. Oh, too late. Oh, you're just gracing us with your presence for a few moments, huh? Light seems brighter tonight. Yeah, it does. I only see 2 lights, Steve, but I didn't turn it on. It might be the wrong 2 lights. If you want to come fix my lighting, you can. All right, let's see. Back to me. Oh, we got a lot of fun here. Not the backlight, on me. I could turn this one down a little bit. Is that better? Okay. All right. Find you?
Pond5.com.
All right, very good. Thank you. Well, I think Steve is definitely going to check that out for audio for his videos. And I might check out some of those photos too. There's times where I just want to buy a photo to put on a blog or something like that, or put in a presentation, and I can't find the right ones for free, and I don't want to steal, that's for sure. All right, let's start up a new subject. I've been thinking a lot about how much using a password manager has made my online life. Okay, I don't like this at all. Starting over. Save. All right. Calzones. Let's see. All right, very good. Thank you. I've been thinking a lot about how much using a password manager has made my online life easier and less frustrating, and of course, more secure. Okay, I fumbled that line again, and I don't want to fumble it, and then I scrolled, and now I can't see what I was doing. Okay, here we go. Try that one more time.
All
right, very good. Thank you. I've been thinking a lot about how much using a password manager has made my online life easier and less frustrating, and of course, more secure. I have a lot of friends who don't use password managers, and I hear them complaining, watching them pull out ragged paper lists, and I know they're not using good passwords. I got it in my head that it would be fun to invite a bunch of my girlfriends over to something I would call Password Playdate. I'd name it that to make them think it would be fun. I would also have to supply them wine to get them to come to that. I understand. Anyway, my idea was to try and convince them to use a password manager, and maybe even to teach them how to set it up right then and there. I've been noodling the idea for a couple of months now, but I haven't taken action on it. I have a habit of doing that kind of thing. When I was in India, though, I got an email from a guy representing a local user group asking if I'd come talk to them again. In a weak moment, probably from lack of gin on the trip, I said yes. He left the field open to me, so I decided it was time to figure out how to actually create Password Playdate. I gave the presentation just this last week, and I bring it up because it was an interesting journey trying to figure out how to do this well. I wanted to tap into their emotions about passwords and how much they hate them. Then I wanted to help them understand how password hacking works, explaining dictionary tables of known words with their equivalent hashes being compared to stolen databases of hash passwords. I knew that was going to be a rough patch, but I had some ideas on how to explain it. That whole bit was to help them understand how bad their passwords actually are. To prove to them that they're bad, I'd tell them about how I got hacked years ago when Gawker Media lost some data. Now I figured I'd have kind of set the stage. Let's assume that I've successfully gotten their attention and I've successfully motivated them. How do I demonstrate setting up and using a password manager without showing them any of my own data? I also wanted to be fair and explain that there are options, the front runners being LastPass and 1Password, but would I have time to demonstrate both? I happen to run both in parallel because Steve still uses LastPass and we share some passwords while I'm over on 1Password most of the time. But it kind of seemed that demonstrating both might introduce a whole new level of confusion I didn't want to get into. I am more comfortable in 1Password right now, so I thought I'd start there. Plus, I knew that 1Password had a demo vault that you can set up that's full of fake data. It's good because you can show all the kinds of data that you can keep in your password manager, not only logins, but license codes, credit cards, identities, traveler's licenses, etc. I figured that would be a great place to show the reveal button since it would not be my real data. But I also wanted to show how easy and happy my life is actually using 1Password. I didn't think they'd believe me unless I could demonstrate going to a website and not ever seeing or even knowing what my password was, which is something I couldn't do with the demo vault. I decided to noodle it with a friend of mine that I hadn't bothered in ages, so I got Jonathan Cost of thinkmac.net on Skype with me to do a screen share and noodle out the problem. Sometimes you just need another smart person to listen to you to help you figure things out. That's probably one of the biggest things I miss about not working. I was surrounded by brilliant people. I could just trot down the hall to bother Nancy or Niraj or Kiran or Ryan or Keith, and they'd listen to me and help me think through the hard stuff. I have to be more resourceful now because they're not right down the hall anymore. Now, Steve is right down the hall, so after I worked with Jonathan and he helped me get a strategy in place, I ran it by Steve to see if it worked, and I got some great advice from him as well. I decided to break it into 4 parts. I'd start with keynote charts to set the stage of anxiety and fear. Then I'd do a demo from my normal Mac user account. I realized after noodling with Jonathan that I could use my normal user account without danger as long as I used the browser extension and never clicked on Reveal. I logged out of Google and Amazon before I got started, so I had both of those tabs ready. Then live in front of the audience, I could log into the browser extension because the default for 1Password is to not show your 1Password as you type. That was a cool discovery. Then I went to Google and Amazon tabs and I tapped the extension to log in, and all of my private information stayed private, but they saw the magic of me not knowing my own passwords. All right, the next thing to tackle was to convince them to use the cloud to store their data. I explained how even though the cloud is scary, what we're looking for is improving your odds. I figured I could get them all to agree that the chances that they had bad passwords today was 100%. And the chances that they'd reused a password was also 100%. And that the chances of their encrypted password file being hacked was a number way, 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 way smaller than 100%. But to bring that home, I needed to give them a motivation to put their encrypted password vault into the cloud. So that meant showing them how it worked on iOS. I remembered a trick I learned from Don McAllister that you can plug in your iOS device, launch QuickTime, choose File, New Movie Recording, and then you'll be able to change the camera input to the iOS device, and Bob's your uncle, your iOS device shows up on screen. Using that trick, I could log into 1Password using Touch ID on the phone, copy a password, say to facebook.com, and log in without ever showing off my passwords. And that's the real beauty, right? When you can use the cloud service to connect those two and you get in and out of both on your Mac and iOS. All right, now I've got that bit figured out, but it really helps to see how to start with passwords. For this, Jonathan and I figured out it would be better if I could go to a new clean user account and install 1Password and run it for the first time. But how do I practice this before the event if I have to be running it for the first time? After a lot of trial and error, I was able to track down all of the plist files that AgileBits creatively tucks away in the corners of the user level library, delete each of those, empty the trash, then remember that the mini agent was still running, then clear them again and empty the trash again, and then 1Password would act like a new install. All right. In the new installation, then I could show them how to create a new last password they never have to remember. Yeah, I heard it when I said that too. It sounded like this is the last suit you'll ever wear. Anyway, that is where I got tangled again, how to do this linearly. You know, I wanted to demonstrate the tool, but I also wanted to show them how to create a good password. Do I interrupt the flow and go over to Bart's fabulous xkpasswd.net to demonstrate how easy it is to get a good password and hammer home how whatever they're thinking of is a bad idea? Well, once I got there, wouldn't I be tempted to go to Steve Gibson's password haystack tool to do more demonstrations of how to improve your password and again, how bad their current passwords are? But if I don't go down that rat hole, I might still lose them on the motivation. You getting why this was so hard? It was hard to figure out what order to do things and keep their interest and yet motivate them for the right things. Well, setting that question aside, I knew I could show them the demo vault and how the reveal thing works and show off all of the other cool features of 1Password. I noodled this whole thing with Pat Dengler of Dengler Consulting, and she suggested I switch to a blank vault and try creating a few logins at some rewards program sites like CVS and Sports Chalet. If I did that, I didn't want to start getting spammed on my real email account, so I created a demo email address at podfeed.com. All right, we're getting somewhere, but you see how complicated this was to try to do? Now let's just pretend I haven't lost them yet. My next phase was to suggest to them that they're all feeling this would be way too hard. I created some charts suggesting that they just start slow. Get a password manager and get one last good gnarly password. I said, it's got to be like uppercase, lowercase numbers, symbols, special characters, maybe throw a goat in there if you can fit it in. They like that part. They kept saying about the goat. Anyway, then I would suggest they simply log into the tool, and as they went about their normal day, allow the tool to start collecting their passwords. After a few weeks, then I would suggest you should probably run the security check in the tool of choice to see how awful your passwords already are. I would make sure they knew how bad mine actually were when I started. Then I thought I could steal again from Bart and tell them to protect the crown jewels first. Fix the passwords on their bank accounts, credit cards, and health insurance. Then, just fix a few a week after that. I stole from Katie Floyd of Mac Power Users. When she talks about going paperless, she always says, stop digging the hole. By that, she means at least from today forward, do things the way you want to do them. Maybe you go back and fix the past, but at least make good passwords going forward. I figured this would be a good point to tell them how to use 1Password's built-in password creation tool. To be honest, I hadn't used it before working on this because I always use the service Bart taught us about to build a while back that taps into the math behind his XKPassWD tool. All right, if I hadn't lost him by then, I knew there were a couple more critical things to tell him. Number one was to give their 1Password to someone else for safekeeping in case they forgot it. I could tell them how Steve and I do it. We have each other's last 1Password in each other's vaults. The chances that we both lose our minds on the same day is pretty slim, right? I could also suggest a safe deposit box is a great place to store at least that 1Password they'd ever need. Well, guess what? It worked. I did the presentation pretty much exactly as I've described here, including going down the rat hole of explaining Steve Gibson's password haystack and Bart's XKPassWD tool. The only place I truly lost most of them was in trying to explain how passwords are hacked. I used an analogy of a potato being mashed and how you can't unmash the potato, but if you could mash enough potatoes till you found the identical mash, you'd know you had the right potato. Yeah, right as I'm saying it, I realized what a bad analogy that is. Steve jumped in and tried to help me clarify things, but I think I'd already lost him by that point. I did post the question over on Google Plus asking if anybody else has come up with an easy way to explain how a hash dictionary file is compared to a hash username and password database to find matches and ultimately the person's username and password combo. Since then, I've been working on an animation using a tool called Hype3 that'll create an HTML5 animation for me that I'm hoping will walk people through how this works. Might still be too nerdy. I've got to test it on some people. Well, the good thing is that at the end of the talk, I think I had them back on track. And when I asked them, how many of you truly think you're going to go forward with this? About half of them said they would. But my favorite person, though, in the audience was a woman who sat right in front, asked gobs of very intelligent, very insightful questions. And at the end, she shook her head and said, nope, I cannot get over the idea of securing everything with 1Password. I liked her because she was honest about it and was examining carefully what the pros and cons were. I'm pretty sure she'll eventually come over, though, because she clearly did understand the problem. My keynote charts are mostly pictures that I talked to, but I put a link to download a zip file of them in the show notes if you'd like to go take a look. It might be helpful to look at the speaker notes as well if you're actually interested. And again, if you have an idea of a way to explain that whole password dictionary matching up file thing, I'd appreciate anybody who has better ideas of the way I did it. That was a long time. About an hour ago, Steve pinged me. Light seems let's see. Paul Shadwell joined us. Weren't we just talking about how much he's been cooking lately? That's the last thing I saw. Let's see. We are talking about cooking. That's good. All right. That was a long spell there. What are we at? 24 minutes. All right. We're in good shape. We're in good shape. And guess who the guest is this week? Jason Snell. How fun is that? All right. Save. I love Paul Shadwell having a baby. That little girl's got you wrapped right around that little finger, doesn't she? It's fun to watch. All right. Here we go. See. Let's check out another interview from NAB. This one will whet your appetite when you hear it, but I think you're going to want to head over and watch the video over at podfeet.com. All right, and we're going to do, we just did Pond 5. Let's do VSN Mobile. This is really cool. This is a 3D camera, 360-degree camera. It's just about this big. It's really cute. Let's check these. Thing. I'd appreciate anybody who has better ideas of the way I did it. Let's check out another. Okay, that's too long of a gap. I don't like silence. Have you guys noticed that? I've been looking at the sharing ability in 1Password, but the problem I see is you have to create a separate vault, which means we have to decide we can share that vault, but that means we all both have to remember 2 passwords. At least one of us has to remember 2 passwords. Oh, that's a good idea, Sandy. Yeah, that's the way to go. You got to pick who it is. Somebody suggested taking your password and printing it out, cutting it in half and giving it to 2 people. But that doesn't make any sense to me, because if you don't trust either one of them enough to give them the whole password, you still have to tell them who the other guy is. That means the 2 people could get together, put it together, go take all your money, right? I don't understand why that would even help. Anybody who has better ideas of the way I did it. Let's check out another interview from NAB. This one will whet your appetite when you hear it, but I think you're going to want to head over and watch the video over at podfeed.com. I'm at the VSN mobile booth with Matt Gordon, and he's got what looks... All right. On our next show, our audio is going to be even better. All right, here we go. Let's see. Nose itches.
Thank you. Take care.
I have no excuse to buy one of these 360-degree cameras from VSN Mobile, but I thought it was really, really cool. I really want one. Oh, one more thing. After the recording, the guy mentioned that camera is waterproof, so you can take it underwater. Maybe I do need it for my next snorkeling adventure, don't I? Well, I'm working on a hardware review that I hope to fit into, I had hoped to put into this week's show, but it looks like it's going to have to wait till next week. When I started working with this product, I noticed that it had a software component that I hadn't expected. As soon as I started to use it, I realized that I was doing an initial setup that I wouldn't be able to do a second time. I took a screenshot of the first screen using the built-in tools of OS X to help make sure I could remember what happened in that step. And then I opened Preview to save it with a good name. Then I realized I'm going to need to do more than one of these, so that was going to be kind of a tedious process, saving all of these separate screenshots as I go through it. So I opened up Pages, and I just pasted the first screenshot in. I had a bit of text I wanted to add, so I started typing, but the images started moving around in this weird way. I started to look at the formatting of the images to change the way the words wrapped around, and then I slapped myself on the forehead. This is totally the wrong tool for the job. Now, Clarify is for making tutorials for other people, so for a short bit there, I forgot that you don't have to be making a tutorial to use Clarify. I popped open Clarify, and as I ran through the process, I used its built-in screen capture tool to grab shots of full windows or portions of windows as I went through the screens. In a few cases, I wanted to remember a specific point on a shot, so I simply dropped in an arrow to point at what I wanted to remember. Since Clarify creates a unique step for each screenshot, I didn't have to fiddle with the image formatting to drop in the text next to each image that I wanted. At one point, I needed 2 screenshots side by side, and the new version of Clarify let me do that too. I know it's a tease not to tell you about the product, but I was so delighted that Clarify solved a new problem for me, even if I was using it for the wrong thing. If you'd like the Swiss Army knife of documentation, tutorial screenshots, and memory enhancers, check out Clarify from clarify-it.com. But hey, do me a favor. When you talk to him, don't tell him I've been misusing the tool. All righty. Ooh, I need to edit that. Find Jason. Get rid of that in the show notes. I can make sure I take that out. Okay, let's see. Need some music. Is Kevin still here? He needs to take his ears off. Well, we have a packed house tonight. Let's see. What do I want? I want 44th Street long. There. And then I got to go find Jason. Where did I stick Jason? NC Audio 2015. There he is. I'll drop him up there. Jason was really cool. That man can talk. Wow. He does 5 or 6 podcasts, I think. And he was a great guest, man. Talk about, there was just no gap in that. Okay. Symbols check. Steve. Symbols check. Are you ready? Here we go. Tom. But hey, do me a favor. When you talk to him, don't tell him I've been misusing the tool. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond, and I'm delighted to introduce to you for the first time on the show, Jason Snell. How you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hot dogs. It is an exciting week. Well, Jason is the founder and editor-in-chief of Six Colors, and it provides daily coverage of Apple, other technology companies, and the intersection of technology and culture. But you probably have known him for his work as lead editor for Macworld for, more than a decade?
Yeah, it was roughly, depends on how you count, but decade-ish is right. Yeah.
Long time. Did you get a pin or anything?
I got a pen set. In fact, at 15 years, or maybe it was at 10 years, I got a pen set from the founder of the company. It was at a very nice dinner at a nice restaurant.
That's the better part, anyway.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And you also work for PC World. I didn't know you launched Tech Hive. I found that on your bio there. Greenbot worked for IDG for 17 years. Yep. Ziff Davis before that.
Yeah, lots of tech publishing stuff in my background for sure.
Now, does that mean you know what you're talking about, or not really?
No, it just means that I hung around longer than everyone else.
Didn't get fired as quick.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it. Right?
Look
here. Well, speaking of changing jobs, you actually left Macworld before things changed a little bit before, but you had decided to go out independently on your own, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Macworld stopped doing its print edition and laid off a whole bunch of people, and that was actually my last day too. But I had spent a year planning for it, whereas my colleagues had not. I was ready to leave, and my bosses knew I was ready to leave, and that I didn't want to go through another set of layoffs and have to slog through that again. And so it was better timing for me than for most of my colleagues, because I had decided after 17 years there that I really wanted to do something different. So it was a great opportunity for me to go off and do my own thing. So yeah, the week after I left, I already had a domain and a site design and things like that. So the week after I left, I was doing my next thing, and there was actually I kind of had hoped that there would be a little bit more time where I could take a few weeks
look like it.
to not do anything and then come back with something, and that just timing wise, because the iPhone came out basically, and I thought, well, if I'm going to write about it, this is that's high season for Apple stuff. So I had to jump right in the week after I left. I was less than a week after I left, I was back with my new thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so what are you, nuts? You purposely left a full-time day paying job, probably had some benefits. You get a pen set every decade or so.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to stop it because you came to the live show, you are going to get a special benefit. And I will go into details about this for the people who can't actually see. This is the hardware product I was talking about. It looks like a thumb drive, doesn't it? See this? This is, let me get the exact name of it. This is the OWC. Looks like a thumb drive, a kind of a big, heavy thumb drive, pretty hefty, but a big thumb drive. This is wait, where did it go? Where's the name of it? I got to get the full name. I got to say it right. This is the Envoy Pro Mini. This is a 240 gig solid state drive in the form factor of a rather large thumb drive. This thing is nuts. I dragged my iTunes library over to it, which granted is pretty small. I don't know, it was like 30 gig. And we tried playing video across over USB 3 off of this onto my Mac, and it was flawless. The response time was perfect. It was really, really good. So this is $200 at OWC right now. It is again called the Envoy Pro Mini, but I'll be giving you real stats. But I used the Blackmagic speed test on it, and I want to do some comparison to some other drives, but it was just like, flatline as high, I shouldn't say flatline, peaked out, topped out at the top speed that it could even measure. So it was really, really cool. All right, Kevin, hope you feel better. So anyway, that is, but oddly it has, it comes with about 1 gigabyte of shareware and freeware tools. And I like what they wrote on it. They said, and that's what I was talking about, the software component. It's good stuff. I don't know whether I need it on my flash drive, but it's stuff like Handbrake and VLC. So it's not crapware, but it is freeware and shareware. But on there they said, but you could delete this if you don't want it. You can get rid of it. But if you want it, we're just giving you some stuff. So it's cool. Anyway, I like it. All right. Let's go here. 1 hour and 18. That is a reasonable length show. Somebody asked me the other day, how long's your show? I said, I don't know. Said it was 1 hour and 11 for a very long time, but then it wasn't. All right, Steve just figured out with what's wrong with my camera? All this time, he's been saying your lighting is all off, and he's right, because it should be like this. That is probably what you were looking for. There we go. Thank you, Steve. I should have listened to you. I should have listened. I didn't listen. Yep, that was much better. Actually, it's kind of dark now, isn't it? I should probably crank. Maybe I'll put this back up. There we go. That's what it was. Now, Steve, you, yeah, the only limitation is the USB bus. Maybe I should do, ooh, that's a good idea. I should do a speed test of the same device on USB 2. Good job, Horst. Yeah. That's, that'll be a good test. Because I was thinking, what do I compare it to? I was going to compare it to, this is the equivalent device in a full size. This is an SSD. This is also 240 gig with a cable, and it's, an inch tall by 4 or 5 inches long and 4 inches wide, 3.5 inches wide. So this is basically the same device as this tiny little thumb drive. So I was going to compare those two. I thought it might be good. Good luck not blocking either of the Jason's ports. Well, actually, on my MacBook Pro, they're on opposite sides, so they don't connect to each other. Actually, let's see. Would that fit? No, you're right. I couldn't have Ethernet plugged into. It'll block one of my Thunderbolt ports. You're right. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of big. But if you had bought a 64 gigabyte MacBook Air, and you wanted suddenly to have 200, they sell this in a 120 gig as well. I forget how much that is, probably like 150. So you could do it on that too. Good point, everyone. All right. I should probably close out the show. Let's see. Oh, hang on one second. Let me ask Steve a question. Yeah, Steve, a question. There was something he wanted me to do, and I want to see what he wanted to do there. Well, this show worked out in spite of our technical difficulties. Will it work in a hub? I would imagine in a USB 3 hub, it would. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Steve. Powered USB 3. Well, regular USB 3 hub. I don't know. I don't have a USB 3 hub. The USB I have, I think, is 1.0. This really old one I have. Is that another socket on the end? No, I think it's got a tether. It's got a little. It comes with a little necklace thing, it does come with an extension cable, so you can plug it in, so you don't block your other ports. And it comes with this little, handy dandy tether. These little tethers, so I can wear it as a necklace. Little nerd ball. Yeah. Good points, everyone. Very good. Wear that as a necklace. All right. Let me get this going. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Is Donald here? I thought Donald was here. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish. Oh, shoot. I do the end of the show, but my phone is telling me I got to stand up. Or my watch is. Whoop, see it. Okay, I'm going to do the end of the show standing. Here we go. Okay, Steve, this isn't working. I thought I had Steve oil this so it wouldn't make so much noise, and now it won't stay up. Okay, let's see. Oh, there we go. A little tighter. There we go. All right. How's this for good video? Can I do it like this? Are you guys enjoying this? I hope you are. I'm having fun. Have medication for that mic issue. Steve. All right. Let me see what he said. Okay. Get back to the end of the show. Here we go. Be really fun. So I appreciate you coming on. Hope you come on again sometime.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, I sure had fun with Jason. I hope he comes back. That was a good time. He certainly does love to podcast, doesn't he? Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping to pay the bills, makers of Clarify over at clarify-it.com. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions like Todd McCann of the Trucker Dump Podcast did. That was fantastic. I loved hearing from him. Anyway, you can send in your dumb questions, comments, suggestions. Email me at allison@podfeet.com and follow me on Twitter at Podfeet. You really want to check out the NosillaCast Google Plus community. That's where I'm having the conversation about how to do the right kind of analogy with the problem of the password hashing. And I'm getting a lot of great help over there from Sandy and Alistair and some other people. So jump in there and have some fun. And you get there by going to podfeet.com/live. If you want to join in the fun of the live show and watch the show be created and get to see the sausage get made, just like, let's see, we had a couple of people come back who hadn't been here in a long time. Paul was here and New York Linda was here. And this new guy, Switcher Mark, I don't even know who that guy is. Jeff Bishop has made it into the chat room now. He was doing it via Twitter before, and now he's in the chat room. And Chattybot, who's Chattybot? Anyway, we've been having a lot of fun in the live show this week. You can do that by coming to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCast castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Whew. All right. I hope that was long enough. Yes, Linda, the reason I stood was because I have an Apple Watch, and the Apple Watch tells you to stand once an hour and you get credit points. If I do it for one more hour today, no, I got to get a little bit more activity. Oh, it's saying I'm still low on my stand. Oh, come on. Oh, no, it says I've only stood 7 of 12 hours so far. It lies. It lies. I get a special badge for 7 out of 7 days. I have gotten 7 out of 7 days for exercise, but I don't know if I'm going to make the rest of that. How could it only be 7 of 7? That's ridiculous. I don't think that part's working right. In fact, I'm certain it isn't. Intro, outro, boom. Go right here. Is that right? Let's see. For listening and stay subscribed. That was you helping, right, Sandy? I thought so. All right. Wow, did I do those? Wow, I did those almost as only one cut, and it actually wasn't a cut, it was a stop. That's amazing. I did that entire thing. I'm just so proud of myself. All right, this thing is looking good. I think we should ship it. Share, export song to disk, export, and it is 5:53. Did my camera drop? Oh no, I might have messed with my camera. Steve's asking me if I messed up. I messed up my camera when I stood up. I think probably. You beat me on standing all day long. Yeah, I think you might beat me on that one, Tyson. That's for sure. Tyson cheats though. Yeah, but that's why I'm excited about the standing thing, because I think I sit a lot. I exercise a lot, but they're in these bursts. So, Steve, don't get dinner ready too early. I need to go outside and work in the yard some more. I'm not done with my exercise, my activity yet. It's really fun watching the different pieces of it and trying to keep track of what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm disappointed in that. There's no way I can't stand up 5 more hours. Maybe I could. We'll see if it gives me credit, though. I don't think it's doing it right. All right, let's see. Steve has 2 more comments. Oh, now I'm too high. Oh, okay. I can just see the top of my hair in the video. Maybe it's a little different the way you see it, Steve. I don't know. Delay. All right. Now you messed it up. Okay, fine. Whatever. At least now that doesn't look right. I think it should be about like that. All right, it's great having Steve to keep this going here. 17 miles. Hey, so the watch does outdoor biking and indoor biking separate, so it's supposed to measure that. You could start getting credit. All right, I think it is time to close it out. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. This was a lot of fun. I'm going to say goodbye to the app people first. So I know that Jeff and it looks like Dan left. I know Jeff, if nobody else is on the app. So I'm going to say goodbye to Jeff. Goodbye. And I'm going to say goodbye to Alpha Geek Radio. Steve, how many people did we get? Any people on Alpha Geek Radio this week? Go ahead and send me in the things. Steve saying stop. All right. Goodbye, Alpha Geek Radio. And finally, we're going to end on, we'll go back over and we will end the live video broadcast. And I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye, Rose. Goodbye, Linda.